Now available in paperback and e-readers, Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer. Take a trip into the macabre world of goth modeling in the new millennium in this spooktacular Spinsterella story. Pick up your copy of Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. I had a black female viewer in the comments section of my video why do successful black women like Sky Jackson pick Pookies over quality black men. Try to ask a counter question, why do successful black men pick white women over quality black women? Now I know that this black female viewer is being disingenuous when she asks this question. However, I'm going to answer this question and break down why this small contingent of black men pick white women over quality black women. Now, when it comes down to the members of this group of black males, they oftentimes pick white women due to the extremely negative experiences they have with black women and black girls, starting with the first black woman in their lives, their mother. Now, their mothers are their first teachers, and as their first teachers, they teach them nothing but negativity regarding their experiences with black women. And because these boys experience what I call the trauma from mama, they oftentimes don't see a black woman as their ideal to get involved with, and they don't see a black woman as an ideal to get involved with because their mothers are so abusive and so cruel due to their projecting their anger regarding their negative experiences on black men, on their sons. And as they project their negativity from the men that they were involved with and the unrealistic expectations they had regarding that black man, they then take this out on their sons and teach them that any experience that you have with a black woman will be negative. And as they do this, they basically put this boy in environments where he's basically seeing an ideal of white supremacy presented to him, one in the media where they present the white woman as an ideal of being kinder and gentler to him than black women, who are presented as stereotypically being angry, stereotypically being sassy, being nasty and cruel, and the white woman in comparison is shown to be friendly and kind. And this is what makes the black male start to believe, that the white woman is the ideal to get involved with, because he not only sees it in the media, negative images of black women being dysfunctional and dramatic, and he sees this coming at home. So that lays the foundation for that black boy as related to how he sees relationships in general, because he doesn't see healthy relationships between black men and black women. No, he sees negative relationships between black men and black women. And this is reinforced in media like your Tyler Perry movies that black women love to go out here and see. And as he grows into adolescence, what happens to that black boy is that he winds up having further negative experiences, because usually when it comes down to that black boy, as he's working on that road to success, when he's working on that road to success by doing well in school, going out here and working on his extracurricular activities, the first person to mock him for doing these things is his mother, and the second person to do this is the black girls in adolescence who mock him and make fun of him for so-called acting white. And as that boy is working on his road to success and working to go to places like graduate high school and finish college, as he's going to finish college, again, it's the black girls who go out here and openly disrespect him when he goes out here and tries to have his first social encounters. And as he tries to have those first social encounters, it's the black girls who go out here and are cruel, calling him all sorts of names, just like Mama did, calling him an MF, calling him stupid, and saying he just doesn't have the time. Meanwhile, these same black girls will go out here and choose Pookie as their first boyfriends. And as they choose Pookie as their first boyfriends, they go out here and get with these Pookies, even when they go out here and are working on their road to college and their road to success. They don't look at the educated black men who are going to college. No, they're out here with the neighborhood dope boy, neighborhood weed man, neighborhood thug, neighborhood criminal, again, dealing with dudes who are in and out of jail. And as they deal with these guys who are in and out of jail, many of these women get their heads gassed up, they get a huge ego, they become extremely arrogant, and they start talking down to guys, the square guys out here who were on the road to success. Again, they start talking real greasy to them, start making fun of them, openly disrespect them straight to their faces. And as they disrespect these guys straight to their faces, they're believing that these guys are just gonna just sit here and just wait for them to be finished with Pookie. They think they're going to have their fun in their teen and early 20s with Pookie, and that this guy basically is a loser. He ain't going to be able to do nothing with his life. Unfortunately, what happens with many black men who are on the road to success and are the square guy is they go out here and they start seeing a world of options. That's what I basically saw when I was in my late teens and all these black girls were out here with the drug dealers. I basically started to, again, just leave them alone in 1989, but I did see other women checking for me, like Puerto Rican women, like Dominican girls, and other girls out here. And even as I got in my 20s, there were women from other parts of the world, again, like Puerto Rican women, Dominican women, and even some Asian and Indian women. I mean, when guys who start to get on the road to success and they start entering into the different worlds of college and the job market, they start seeing a whole different pool of women that they can get involved with. And that's how some of these successful black men start getting involved with white women. Again, he's working on a road to success. And as he's working on that road to success, basically what these women are seeing is a guy who's going somewhere. And what they want to do is go out here and be able to jump on that program and look to be a helpmeet to that guy in some cases. Now, some of these chicks, again, see a guy on a road to success and they think, oh, I'm going to jump on that bandwagon. Again, these women can basically identify a guy who's on his way going somewhere. They can identify a guy doing well in school. They can identify the guy who's in college. They can identify the guy at the job who's up and coming, who's a black man. And again, they've got their eyes open for that guy. And even as they see that guy, they're like, okay, I see this guy's going somewhere and doing something. I'm going to go get this guy off the market. And what happens to those women is that they find a way to work their way into their routine. And then they go out here and snatch that dude straight off the market. And while that black woman is out here dealing with all of this drama from Pookie and Ray Ray, and possibly dealing with being on the road to becoming a baby mama, what happens to some of these guys in this group is those women see that guy, and as they see that guy, they basically, again, snatch him off the market, and that's what happens to those men. Again, those men, many of these black women thought, oh, I don't need this guy. He's a loser. He's a nerd. He's a square. I don't care about this dude. He's nobody important. While they're having their big relationship with Pookie in their teen and early 20s, most of those guys, as they're going to school, what's happening is these other women are checking for that dude and getting in on the ground floor of that man's program. And as they get in on the ground floor of that man's program, he's basically, again, working to build himself up. And that's why those guys basically, again, wind up ignoring so-called quality black women, because the so-called quality black women went out here and picked Pookie, and as they picked Pookie early on, they basically blew their chance. Now, a lot of these chicks, I would see them in college, I would see them at the job, and again, would blow their chance because either they got with Pookie early on in their lives, or they became a baby mama with Pookie, having kids with Pookie. And once a guy is on a road to working towards improving himself, what happens is that man's perspective on life changes. And as that man's perspective on life changes, his whole mindset completely changes because he's basically having different experiences in the world. He's having different experiences in life, and he's basically growing as a person. And as he grows as a person, he basically becomes completely different. So the same girls who he was checking for in high school, he ain't checking for no more. And as he has grown and seen his own self-worth and seen himself achieve and accomplish things, he's basically working with the women who want to show him respect and want to work with him. So he ain't thinking about getting with her because she decided to make Pookie her first boyfriend. And the guy who was cool in high school, as she was with the 20-some-odd-year-old man, or the 19-year-old guy if she's in junior high school, who was out here selling the weed or selling the dope or going out here getting into all sorts of nonsense, that guy basically becomes a liability later on in life. And what happens with a successful black man is when he sees this woman, he doesn't see an asset as related to his life or improving his quality of life. No, he sees a woman who he sees as a liability. He sees a woman who's going to be a liability because he doesn't want to go out here and be the cleanup man, cleaning up somebody's mess and being a janitor to someone who's already in a relationship as related to being with this Pookie who she's already slept with, and again has the DNA and spirit of this man and soul ties with this man. You already got connections to that man, and since you got connections to that man, you're already sufficiently obligated, and this situation becomes even more exacerbated because these women go out here and have kids with this man. And any man who's going out here to work on himself, work on improving himself, work on improving his quality of life, any man who's going out here to work to take himself to the next level, he's not going to go out here and take a step down looking to get involved with this black woman. No, this black woman who's already done gone out here, done got with Pookie, done got with Ray Ray, done got with the white dude at the job. He's not looking to go out here and bring himself down, not looking to bring himself down by dealing with all of those problems. No, he ain't thinking about dealing with all of those problems as related to things, because when you start to improve your standard and raise your standard in life, you ain't really thinking about going out here and bringing problems into your life after you've gone out here and worked hard to establish yourself. After a man has gone out here and worked hard to establish himself, he's not thinking about going out here and looking to get involved with a woman who's already got a bunch of baggage. That's why he's not picking the so-called quality black woman, because it would be a decrease to the quality of his life. I mean, why would a man who already worked hard to establish himself look to go out here and get involved with a woman who's out here with Pookie? Critical question I gotta ask, because when I see a guy who goes out here and establishes himself, he's not looking to get involved with no woman who already got an ex who's involved in a criminal lifestyle. No, he don't need that grief. He's already worked hard to improve himself already. And as he's worked hard to improve himself already, he doesn't want to go out here and deal with a dude who, and all of his problems, and a woman who's already involved with a dude who's got a bunch of problems. No, he's not looking to deal with a dude who already is a big problem and have to be going back and forth with him. No, he ain't thinking about going back and forth with him over you. No, he's just gonna do the logical thing and say, look, you made your choice. you made your choice to go get with that dude. And since you chose that dude, we gonna leave you in them streets with that dude. That's what I did back in 1989 when I saw these girls getting involved with these dope dealers, and I saw that they were basically going nowhere. Basically left them right there and said, okay, this is the guy you picked, and if you pick that guy, then that's the guy you deal with. And if you go out here and have kids with another dude, then that's the man you chose. So I'm not dealing with you, and I don't need to deal with this, especially if you start getting yourself up. I mean, once you start making some real good money, you go and say, look, you start to say, if I'm making this good money and I'm taking care of myself, I don't need to bring problems in my life. I don't need to be bringing no woman who's been out here in the streets in my life and waiting to go get with someone who already is sufficiently obligated. I don't need to deal with somebody else's kids or somebody else's baby mama drama. I mean, again, that's what happens with a lot of guys like myself. But I don't even want to deal with no white women. But I understand why that small contingent goes out here and does these things, because again, when you start going out into the world and having different experiences, again, you want to go out here and again choose black women, because a lot of guys out here, we choose black women, but a lot of black women go out here and choose the wrong guy to get with early on. And even though they've got their good job, they just have too many problems to deal with. So guys, leave them where they find them, because we don't want to be dealing with all of this nonsense with Pookie and somebody else's kids or some other thing. Like some of these chicks they have mental health issues and other things, or they have dealing with addiction. I mean, guys, just leave them alone. And again, you pick this first boyfriend, and that first boyfriend eventually leads to you guys looking to pass you by, because they see that you're going to bring drama. They see you're going to be a headache, and that's what leads to these things. Now, again, I don't condone these guys, again, getting with white women, but I understand why some of them go out here and choose that road. Don't agree with it, but that's what they choose. And again, this is what they choose because they go into different social circles. They start elevating their social status. They start working in different environments, and they get introduced to different women. And some of these guys, because they have trauma from mama, they go out here and think that the white woman is a better option, or the non-black woman is the better option. And again, the black woman who was the guy's first choice, and a lot of guys out here, they choose black women first, but the black women reject guys. And as they reject guys and choose them over Pookie, those guys basically go on with their lives. And as they go on with their lives, this is what leads to them, again, seeing other people who are in their social circles who are interested in them, seeing other people in other circles who are interested in them, and then looking to go out here and make a move on those chicks. And what happens to many black women is that they go from being that guy's first choice to being their last choice. Now, 85% of black men, again, do choose black women, but that small contingent, they do go out here. And again, they would have possibly chosen black women first, but again, due to the trauma from mama and the cruelty from teenage girls who picked Pookie first, that's why they're out here choosing other women out of other races to get involved with. I don't condone it, don't justify it, but this is just what happens, because what happens with black men is, again, they suffer all of this trauma, and again, because they suffer this trauma, again, they wind up choosing somebody else because you chose Pookie. And again, not what happens to many black women is they get bitter, because what happens is they thought, oh, this guy was a loser, and turns out that this guy went out and worked on himself, improved himself, and as she peaked in her late teens, early 20s, wound up getting babies by Pookie or getting run through by the crew. What happens is that she winds up with her social marketplace value declining, and as her social marketplace value declines, what happens to these black women is that they think they get upset because they know they can't go back to that guy because that guy improved himself. And as what happens with men, as they get older, they further start to improve and they start to, again, their social status starts to rise. And instead of them getting in on the ground floor with equality, man, they wind up one of the 70% of black women who are single. And as they wind up becoming one of the 70% of black women who are single, that's when they become bitter because they know that they cannot go out here and compete in the social marketplace anymore because they basically damage their own reputations. And as they damage their own reputations, they're not able to get with those guys who now have moved on to other women, and not just white women, but to other black women who were smart enough to see where the ground floor was. I go in depth on this in my book, Spinsterella, where Matilda sees the quiet man and sees the ground floor and is able to snap up that guy because she's watching what's going on. But when it comes down to the modern black woman, she's only thinking about getting with the pookies. And as she thinks about getting with the pookies, she ignores the quality black men, doesn't get in on the ground floor. And what happens is, instead of being in a ground floor, her whole world falls completely apart because Pookie is not a builder. Pookie is not a person with a long-term agenda. Pookie doesn't have a direction, and instead of being with the guy who's cool in high school, they wind up with an overgrown child who grows old and doesn't grow up, and eventually turns into a liability that winds up embarrassing them because he's a reflection of their dysfunction. And that's what happens to women like Sky Jackson, who pick Pookie over quality men. And what many black women who are disingenuous want to do is say, oh, and generalize and say, oh, black men choose white women instead of quality black women. No, that's not the case at all. Many black men want to choose black women first, but black women want to choose to look to elevate their social status in places like high school and the street. And as they look to elevate their social status in high school and the street, they can't see how they're basically falling for something that leads to them going to having a life that falls completely apart. That's what happens to many of the black women who are single, successful, and well educated. They pick Pookie in the beginning, and as they pick Pookie in the beginning of their lives, when they get older, they wind up with seeing other black men doing well, but can't get with those brothers because they're not in a place where they're ready to be a helpmeet, ready to be a wife. No, they wanted to be the girlfriend of Pookie, and as they chose to be the girlfriend of Pookie, all these other women, including black women from other areas, they are ready to be wives, and they wind up taking the men that you didn't want. And as they take the men you didn't want, you're sitting up here bitter and single, trying to be dishonest and saying, oh, black men are choosing white women. No, black men look to choose you first, but you chose him last. And now that you chose him last, he moved on with his life. And as he moved on with his life, he once put you first, but now he's not there, and now you're last, and as you're last, you're possibly not on a road to getting any man. No, you're just on a road to bust downtown, and your social marketplace value has basically dropped 50, 60, 70, and even 80% off. And as it's dropped, it's out here. Many of these black women want to say it's white women. No, it wasn't white women that took that many of the black men off the market. It was also other black women. But the small contingent of black men, again, they went out here and chose differently because, again, they found out, hey, I don't need to stay sitting up here waiting for this chick. There's a whole world of people out here. And that's what happens to many square guys. They go out here and they choose other women, not just white women, but they do choose other black women. And I believe a majority choose other black women. But this handful, small contingent of black women basically upset because they chose Pookie, and they are upset because they didn't get the man of their dreams. They just got a lemon of a male who's made a hot mess of their lives, and they got to sit down and still deal with this man, and nobody wants to deal with them because the man that they chose is basically showing how both of them are stuck in a state of arrested development. Now, if you want to learn more about why so many black women are single and how they can escape the paradigm of failure that they basically put themselves in, you can pick up my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find Why 70% of Black Women Are Single at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. If you'd like to see me make more videos taking this whole relationship nonsense to the barbecue, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA, from the Black Boule, in this all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl. The aspiring angel takes on a wicked teenage witch in this action-packed, all-new Esteemed series adventure. Pick up your copy of Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.